Hey everybody, I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and today we're going to take a look at this guy, Mastermind Creations Ocular Max Precision Series PS-24 Incertus, aka Groove, from the original G1 Transformers cartoon, and also one of the members of the Protectobots from that cartoon. This is of course the fourth member from Mastermind Creations to round out their Protectobots set. Hopefully we'll be getting that last member maybe sometime this month or very soon, and we'll be able to complete that set. I'll do a full review of that. But for now, I'm going to do a review of this guy. We'll do a quick unboxing of the figure, full review of the robot mode, of course, go over the accessories, do a detailed transformation for you, show off the alt mode, and we'll do some size comparisons in there as well for you. And before we get into all that, I just want to give a shout out to Madhouse Collectibles, which is where I got this guy from. So if you haven't dealt with Madhouse before, please go ahead and check them out. I'll leave a link down below in the description to their website so you can check them out. They're an awesome group of guys based out of Canada, but they're willing to service customers in Canada and the US as well. So please, if you're in Canada and the US, please go ahead and check them out. And if you stick around to the end of this video, I'll give you some details on that monthly raffle that I've got going on. So for January, I'm actually going to be giving away either Magic Square Heavy Gunner or Magic Square Munitioner, which is their Masterpiece scale Combaticons. And if I get enough entries, the winner will actually win both figures. I'll leave some information in the description down below, along with some links so you can check that out as to how you can get into the raffle and the rules behind it and the details and everything else. And with all that stuff out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, so let's dive right into it. I'm not going to go over the box because I had the spinning intro there as part of my new 2025 layout. So I'll just dive right into the box. Standard MMC packaging with the plastic bubble wrap. You get the card and the instructions, and as well as the secret decoder bar, whatever you want to call it, in the plastic Ziploc bag with every figure. And there we go. And we'll go over the accessories in a bit. I won't stand the box because I tried to do that earlier and everything just fell out of it. So I'll just put the accessories off to the side for now, including the two faceplates that are a little hard to get out, interestingly enough. Get all that stuff out of the way. And get the main figure out. So he comes, there's a plastic bag that's just covering the top half of him, obviously just to protect the gold paint, which is very nice. Nothing to do when you take him out of the box. He's already set and ready to go. A really good looking figure. We'll take a look at the face sculpt. So there's some really neat details for Groove, and of course he had a neat face sculpt in the cartoon, right? Like a pronounced chin, even more pronounced nose, but the eyes are actually gold chrome. With a beige face, completely painted face sculpt. Even the crown, like the side cheeks, whatever you want to call these here. This is all painted black, and the gold in his eyes does match the gold here that's on his chest. Really nice metallic finish to it. Very cool stuff. Arms are painted silver. Typical MMC stuff, right? They don't go all out on a lot of their figures with paint on everything. But gold and silver and black is all painted throughout this figure. The white is not. I'm pretty sure the white is just molded plastic, right, which is standard stuff with MMC. But it is very nicely colored. What else we got? We got. We'll look at the details in the alt mode for the motorcycle. So you can see there's already like painted dials in there and stuff, and painted details on the handlebars. But all this black in here is painted as well. I think the handlebars in that are actually molded black plastic. Mirrors, again, we'll check it out in the alt mode, but you got silver painted mirrors, plastic window back there. So again, they don't go all out with the paint, but I always find MMC goes just far enough with the paint. And as we can see from the cartoon rendering there, very close match to what we remember from the cartoon. Let's take a look from the side. Some nice details like the police badging on the side of his legs here. What else can we say about this? It's a neat profile. This is obviously a very big backpack. But I mean, that is what you get with Groove, right? I mean, where else are you going to put the front of the motorcycle on this guy? And it is accurate to the cartoon as well, right? He did have this on the back of the figure. Back cleans up very nicely. The wheels are a bit neat, right? So this is the rear wheel of the motorcycle, which is just split in half. But as we go through the alt mode, you'll see that when you transform this into the alt mode, this actually cleans up really, really nice. But I mean, the entire figure itself is very clean in the back, nothing grotesque hanging out. Same thing on this side. It's a very solid figure. The one thing I would note is it seems a lot lighter than the other MMC Protectobots that are in the set. Now, there's more to the Carbots, I think, right, in regards to the inner working mechanisms and stuff, right? It's going to be a more solid block. You know, for example, a lot of this is like, especially in his upper chest areas, we go through the transformation, you'll see that a lot of this is actually just open and hollow inside, just to sort of hide away all the components of the motorcycle in behind the chest plate and underneath the shoulders and that. Bit of an odd looking, you know, quote unquote neck shoulder scenario, but again, Groove was, again, if we look at the cartoon rendering, you know, he wasn't a normal looking bot per se, again, because of this whole thing going on with the motorcycle and where the head is sitting and all that stuff. There is an interesting feature with the robot mode, and you can check the instructions, it'll show you, but you can actually collapse the head down further into the neck. So if you don't like the head sitting up this high on the profile, you can actually just sort of press down on the front and it'll fold down into, like, in between these two shoulders. So these almost become shoulder pads, and then you'll see his head collapses down further into the top of his chest. So again, collector's choice right as to how you want to display him, right? It does drop the head down a little lower, and then you can just, if you don't like that, then you can just pull it back up. You just have to watch the you know, where the front Autobot emblem would go, right, and just put it back in place, because it will slide out as you're sort of maneuvering it back into position. But there you go. Let's go ahead, we'll go over the articulation. So the head is on a ball joint, so it does allow you to yeah, so you have to watch this. This does pop out very easily, but anyway, so he does, and with that articulation that's in the head, you can actually get him to look actually straight down, which is kind of neat. And then he does look back slightly as well. So of course, because he's on a ball joint, right, you can get that confused doggy look to him. Obviously 360-degree rotation all the way around. For his shoulders, a little bit of an impediment here from these parts that make up the gas tank of the alt mode, but you can get the arms straight out. There is also, as part of the transformation, there's a bit of manipulation in the shoulders as well. You can kind of pivot these out and back. You have to work at it a bit, but you can get a bit of a butterfly tilt then, so that he can reach across the front of his chest with his elbow bend as well. So, and as you can see, right, we've got a you know, bicep swivel. This does go 360 degrees all the way around. We do have, I can't remember now. Yeah, it is past 90 degrees, so you get, you know, almost a double elbow bend there, so very nice. We do have a wrist rotation, 360 degrees. Thumb is on a single ball joint. The thumb itself is fixed, but it is on a ball joint for, you know, lots of articulation there. We have individual fingers, single pin at the base knuckle, so these are all of his fingers are in this curved position, but they are individually articulated. Move down into the waist, so we do have a soft ratcheted waist swivel, which is nice. We do also have a very deep ab crunch, almost 90 degrees. No side skirts for the hips, so that's easy spread on the legs. And he does have like a half hip skirt in the front that you can get out of the way, and he does have a very high kick, well past 90 degrees. Same thing going back the other way, you can just barely hear the soft ratchet that's in there. Again, MMC not being, you know, heavy on the hard ratchets like some third-party companies, but still a very solid set of articulation. We have a thigh swivel. We do have a knee bend, and it does go past 90 degrees. And then we also have an ankle tilt that actually comes in 90 degrees. It is part of the transformation for hiding the foot away. No ankle tilt out. These toes do tilt forward, again as part of the transformation, so you do have a toe tilt as well, and there is a slight ankle rock forward and back as well. So solid articulation again from a third-party company, you know, well beyond I think what we're normally used to with some third-party companies now, right? We've got a double elbow joint, right, well past 90, knee well past 90, you know, good ankle tilt, high kick with the legs. So the only limitation is the shoulders, right? And again, there is a lot going on in the shoulders as part of the transformation, which we'll see when we get there. So that is the only limiting factor, is his arms, but nothing that I would seriously complain about. I'll do a size comparison, and then we'll take a look at the accessories. So I figured the best thing to compare him to is obviously the other Protectobots. So as we know, Hotspot is a big boy, so he's a little out of scale with the rest of them. But here he is with First Aid, and then there he is with Streetwise. Right. So very impressive, this set so far. Like, this is going to look really good on your shelf, whether you're going to display them in individual robot mode or you're going to display them in you know, combined mode. Again, it's too bad that Hotspot is as big as he is, but you know, he's going to be the torso of their all-in-one combined mode, right? It is an all-in-one set, so there's no parts forming or anything with these guys. Everything is built into the figure, which is very cool engineering. But I think this still looks really impressive, you know, and the guys scale well together, even though these guys are kind of in an A stance, right? So they're obviously about the same height. So really good. I love it. I love the look of these guys. Scale as well. Looks really good on the shelf. Super impressive so far. Okay, let's take a look at the accessories. So I'll bring up the first one because it's a bit odd from the rest of them. It's a cone. I don't remember this from any of the episodes of the cartoon. I'm assuming it's some type of like siren horn, right? But this does bring out one of the interesting features of Incertus, is that, you know, most of the MP figures that we're used to, right, the hands are fixed. They will fold up inside the forearm somehow to hide them away. In this case, his hands are actually on a peg that is the same as this peg that's on this cone. So if you want to attach this, you just pull. Come on, there we go. Pull on one of the hands to expose the hole at the end of the arm, and you peg this in, and it ends up looking just like that. Very simple accessory. It is painted silver. Nothing special about it at all. Again, I don't even remember that him using that in the cartoon at all. If he did at all, maybe they just added it in as something to throw in there. So let's take a look at his two side guns, leg guns, back alt mode guns, cannons, whatever you want to call these. This is just black molded plastic. This is not painted. It is kind of a semi-gloss, so it does have a painted look to it, which is really, really neat. Really cool details all up and down, right? We've got this circle detail here, 2 exhaust ports here on the back, as well as some line detailing here. Pretty wide, actually, kind of a thick weapon. Open hole for the barrel, so very nice. Both of them have this square opening on the sides, and I find the easiest way to attach them is you can actually lift this saddlebag that has the police logo on it away from the leg, and then you can more easily get in behind the tab that just rotates out like that, and then pop this back down, and then of course the gun just tabs onto that peg that you've rotated out, just like that. I'll do the same thing on the other side just so we can get a good look at it. So I just pop that guy out, put this panel back into position, and then tab the gun onto it, just like that. And you can do the same thing in the alt mode as well, which we'll take a look at when we do the review of the alt mode. But then you end up getting this look from him as well. So some leg cannons for those of you who like leg cannons. And finally, his pistol. Again, same thing. Nicely sculpted, semi-gloss, black molded plastic, nothing painted here. Lesser details. The coolest detail is actually the translucent red cube that's here at the back, almost like it's a siren gun or something. And some details on the bottom there as well. This does fold down. I have not figured out why the barrel folds down like that. Maybe it's for weapon storage, but I didn't find where it should be stored. The thing I do like about MMC's weapon designs is it's not a tab on either side of the handle. It's just this peg, that's sort of part of the bottom of the handle. So it doesn't need to like tab into the hand. It just slides into the same square shape that's in the hand, and I'll show that here, right? So you just simply open up the hand and get the thumb out of the way, of course. Right, so in the hand, right, there's a square opening here that lines up with that bottom part of the handle, so it just presses into place. It presses into place, I swear. There we go. So I find that these are a lot easier to put, than other companies for putting their weapons in their hands. And it does make for a more solid grip as well, right? So, right, that's not falling out of his hand anytime soon. So there he is with this pistol. So very good stuff. Again, to me, just the right amount of accessories here, right? The only thing that you're going to end up storing in a box is this guy. I'm not really sure why this exists at all, but it is one extra accessory that maybe we don't need. And I'm just noticing now that this also rotates for some reason, and I don't know why. If anybody wants to tell me why this gun rotates and folds down the way that it does, drop something in the comments for me, because I'm always willing to learn. And then, of course, lastly are his, he does come with 2 face plates. It is just the bottom half of his face, so everything below the eyes, basically. So you got one, looks like it's kind of an angry upside down face, and the other one is a smiley face versus the one that he comes with, which is just a standard stoic face. Putting these on is very simple. In fact, I will tell you that during the first time that I transformed this, as you can see, it's a very small peg into the hole that holds the face on. During the first transformation I did with this guy, his default faceplate actually popped off. So just keep an eye on that when you're doing the transformation, where the head tucks inside the chest. There is a little bit of a clearance issue, which we'll go into, but I will show you how that goes on. So, easiest thing to do is just tilt the head back as far as you can, even so far as to, start that rotation into the chest, and then just get your thumb underneath the chin. Like I said, it pops off very easily, And as you can see, it's a very small peg that's going to hold that faceplate on. You do have to make sure that you keep your finger in behind the head. Otherwise, you end up pushing the entire head sculpt back into the center. There we go. And it does slide on and off very easily. There's not a lot of pressure. So again, like I said, because of that, it may pop off. So yeah, that is a grimacing, angry face of some type. So that's very cool. I think I'll probably leave that one on there. Okay, so for the transformation, I'll just pop the guns off just because they do get in the way. And we'll start with where do we start? Is it the forearms, right? So the hands don't actually fold up inside the forearms, and as you see, there's not a lot of space. So, but the arms do collapse down, and it's a double pivot right here where you see these two tabs. So you need to break them away at the elbow 90 degrees, and then fold it back so that the back end of the forearm is then covering the bicep, just like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. So you can just break it free and then just move it back into that position there so that the arm is collapsed. And then it's already happened. So then you want to the star shape for the police logo, and it's on the inside. Actually, they both popped out while I was working on it. So they're actually tabbed in to slots here that make up the engine. So you need to break those free, and they're very easy to pop out. You just do that. Again, I will caution as well that the pivot points here on these black parts, like these arms, it's just two small pegs on the other side that's holding them in. And I did find, at least with this one, it popped out very easily after I did a couple of transformations. So just watch that you're not putting a lot of pressure on these as you're moving them up and out of the way. You do need to get the handlebars out of the way, so you can just flip them up out of the way like that. And then that frees up the inner assembly where the shoulder is inside the chest, so that we can then just pull the arms out. And I always find this side is a little tighter than the other one. Now you'll notice that this one you can pull down 90 degrees. This one you can't. The kickstand that makes up the alt mode gets in the way. So what I like to do is I like to actually just move that out of the way and then rotate this forward at the torso, just so you can get this arm assembly completely down 90 degrees. And as you'll see, it's already sort of started. So this part here you want to rotate back flat and then bring the arm down so you've got this straight assembly that's going on. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll rotate this back and then bring the arm down so that everything's nicely straight in line. Now we'll pull out the wheel. So as you can see, it's bent 90 degrees here, so you just need to pull the whole wheel assembly forward until it's in line and tilt it out as far as you can. It just gives you clearance for working in here. There is this silver panel that's in here. There's one on either side. You want to get your finger in there, or a spudger, or whatever you've got, and just rotate those out of the way. I think these are actually more filler pieces. You don't actually have to do this because it doesn't interfere with anything with the transformation, but it does make the alt mode look a little cleaner so you can't see in here with all the stuff that ends up back in there. So next we'll rotate the head. So there is not a lot of clearance on either side of the head as you're moving it down behind the chest. So you do want to make sure that the head is straight up and down before you start this. Disconnect the front chest emblem up and then start the head rotation. This is where it gets a little hard to get your finger into place and stuff because the wheel does get in the way. So you want to bring this all the way around and up so that the head is straight up and down like this. And again, you just want to double check to make sure the head is straight up and down. It's not tilted in any way because it'll interfere with the chest plates collapsing later on. Then move the motorcycle handlebars and windshield and all, like this whole assembly here, just move it all the way forward. And that's just to get out of the way, because this needs to, the gold emblem part needs to rotate around and go flush. So this piece back here has to go flush. And the gold part has to go down inside like that, just to get everything out of the way. And you do have to play with it a little bit to get it to line up. So now the left and right of the chest will actually fold 90 degrees on either side of the head. I did find that the one on the right is a lot tighter than the one on the left. It does actually feel like you're going to break it just to get it to snap free, but as you can see, there's a little tab that's there that's holding it in place, so you just need to break it free from that. Do the same thing on this side. And it should go fairly square. If it's not, then again, you need to work the head back just so you can get... So see how now the head fits right inside the two halves. So if the head is pushed forward or tilted in any way, then you need to make sure you straighten it out so that all this collapses down together. All these details for the engine, those are going to flip out 90 degrees. Now at this point you can start to work the upper body straight up and down again, just so that you can get these panels flipped down, just like that. Okay. And then once you have those panels flipped down, then the two halves that made up the shoulder assembly and all of this is going to fold up on either side of the gold. And the arms, as you can see, there's a tab here and a hole here. So all this is going to collapse together inside here, and then the shoulders are going to tab together, so they essentially make up the seat of the motorcycle. So we'll just bring these two up, pinch them together, pinch the shoulders together. So then you can take these two halves, so you need to collapse. So the part that's got the gold star on it, you just turn that 90 degrees so that it goes onto this peg here. It makes up the the gas tank in front of the seat of the motorcycle. Same thing on this side. And then you're just going to pivot them both up. So there's a tab here, right tab here, goes into these two holes here. And then of course they'll also peg together. Now this is where this gold part can get in the way. So just make sure that it is down, out of the way, and then you'll be able to bring those over. So that is where I accidentally, the first time I transformed, I didn't have that down far enough, and I ended up popping this part out because it was hooking up on that gold piece. And there we go. So we bring those two halves together, so now you're essentially should be sitting with this at this point. And then we'll move down into the legs. So you want to start with, we could start with the feet and work our way up. So rotate the feet in 90 degrees as part of the ankle rocker, and the feet just rotate all the way in like this, and then you can put them back. Same thing on this side. And then you want to break away those saddlebags, the things with the police logo on them. The parts with the exhaust pipes on them, just rotate them pretty much all the way around. You just want to leave them because these tabs will tab into either side of the motorcycle, just sort of lock everything in later on. So we'll do that. Come around to the back side. So the seats are here, so we need to unfold them. We're just sort of exploding these out like that. Show it a little bit here, right? So you're just continuously unfolding these until you get to that point. And then the back part of the motorcycle is actually collapsed down here. So if you actually reach down to the bottom of the seat and lift up, it will release that entire part, and you're just going to open it up and bring it forward, bring it forward, bring it forward. Do the same thing on the other side. And I'm just now realizing I've got, okay, so, sorry, you do need to rotate the torso around. Sorry, I completely forgot about that. So once you have all this opened up like this, then you can fold down put the legs together first. So this is the part where I was saying, so the two halves of the wheels as well as this back part of the motorcycle, it all just comes together now once you've got everything opened up. And I typically do the all this other stuff that I showed you first, just because it makes it easier for getting into all these areas to squeeze everything together and there's nothing getting in your way. And then once we have all this opened up like this, then we can go ahead and bring the hands down. And they will, so they have a tab that's here on either side of the forearms, but they are a reverse rhombus shape, if you will. And they do actually sit into these open spaces here. So you actually kind of have to bring it down and then work them sideways into place. And they will like pop in and lock everything together. So you kind of push them in and then out, and it locks everything together. And then before we bring the back of the motorcycle up and lock down the seats, we need to get the rear wheel out of the way. So we're going to rotate. So the wheel goes straight down through, and this whole piece will rotate up forward as well. And what you'll notice is that as you're doing that, these end up coming forward as well. So you can just bring those forward just to get them out of the way slightly. And then push the wheel down through the middle. And then you can grab it from underneath to finish it off. And as you'll see, that will push down on these other parts, which you can just then pop them into place. They literally fall into place. It's a very nice, smooth transformation. And I said, there we go. And I said that, and then it wouldn't pop into place for me. Okay, there we go. The seats are on slider pins. So as you can see, there's like a huge gap between the seats, but they do peg together. So they are on a, see if I can show it here. There's a slider pin here on both of them, so it does just slide over, and that then allows you to squeeze the seats together. And then there's tabs here in the seat that go into the holes that were in the shoulders. You may have noticed them in as we were doing the review there, right? There were some holes in the side of the shoulders, so you just squeeze all that together. And then we're left with these saddlebags and the exhaust pipes. So the exhaust pipes, actually, those tabs I was talking about, they actually tab into either side of the wheel to lock the wheel into position. So now you can go ahead and rotate those in. And then these edges of the exhaust pipes will actually grab onto the actual exhaust pipe that's here. So once you rotate these over, you'll actually feel them click into position like that. And then you just bring the police saddlebags, line it up with the back part of the motorcycle, squeeze them together onto the pegs and tabs. It's funny, this one is always, there's always something about one figure. And I find that with this one, it's always this side. This one peg doesn't always line up. And then just check your handlebars here. Whatever position you think looks good, because these are on a ball joint, so they can be positioned in all sorts of weird and funky ways. So I think that looks right. Bring out your kickstand again. It typically gets tucked away while you're maneuvering it and stuff, and then you have a very, in my mind, a very accurate looking alt mode. Oh, sorry, yes, I forgot to mention that. This whole mechanism does kind of flop around, but it does actually tab in. There's a tab right here that goes into the front of the gas tank area. You'll actually feel it click into place if you bring it up and push. And then it doesn't, right, no longer flops around anymore. So there we go. Very cool looking alt mode. And the accessories, his two larger cannons, again, these can also tab onto the same spots at the back of the vehicle. Again, just a matter of getting those tabs out. And again, if you're having trouble getting at those tabs, and just separate the side panel away just so you can get your finger in behind it. And then obviously you just tab that in there, bring this forward, tab this in there, and then you have some weapon storage. And I don't think this stores anywhere. I didn't find anywhere that this actually stores. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna double check the instructions real quick. No, I was wrong. It absolutely does. So right in the back of the motorcycle. So let's go ahead and check that out. So it looks like, so that would explain why the barrel folds down. Okay, so yes, this does store in the back of it like the instructions say, but what they're not telling you is you actually had to like separate the back half of the motorcycle like this so that you can get the handle in flush with the back of the motorcycle, and then obviously line it up and squeeze everything back together. And then that explains why the barrel folds down, is because obviously it's sticking down too far so that it doesn't impede the wheel touching the ground. And then that light, or that translucent red plastic that was on the back of his pistol, then becomes an additional siren / brake light on the back of the all mode, so it ends up looking just like that. Okay, very cool. All right. Again, I like weapon storage. So let's, oh no, I separated the seat. Okay, there we go. Anyway, so let's take a look at this, because it is very, very nice. Lots of very nice details are going on here, right? Especially in the engine compartment, right? This is very real world looking motorcycle engine details. Even as a car guy, I'm not familiar with motorcycles, so I could not even begin to tell you what is what here, other than gear selector here, right? This is all painted silver, by the way. The black pegs here on the gear selector is painted black. Footrest details. I don't know what this is. This is where the pistons in 4-stroke engine, right? I believe. Look at these details in the rotors, right? The brakes. You know, these are, you know, standard motorcycle ABS brake. Like, look, right? Like there's caliper details going on here. There's tire tread details going on. These are rubber. Rolls very freely, right? The whole vehicle rolls very, very freely. From the front, right, we've got translucent red headlight, translucent orange side markers, clear headlights on the front. What else have we got? I mean, there's just, you know, the nice police star logo, which is also on the cartoon character as well. Again, additional details over here on this side for the engine. Everything silver's painted red. All the exhaust pipes and everything are painted red. We've got rings around the exhaust pipe. I'm just going to take these off. You know, police logo on the side. Translucent orange markers here on the cargo storage. The hinges are painted silver. Line details in the, you know, leather seats. Those details I was talking about before. Right? We've got console details, speedometer, and tachometer, most likely. What else? Right, all the lights in the back, right? Again, we have translucent red for the brake lights, for the sirens. Exhaust is painted silver. Same thing back here, rear wheel, right? We've got details for the brake rotors, the rims themselves, tire treads. Rolls very freely. I was worried when I was doing the transformation, right, when I first took the figure out of the box, and I was like, oh, the wheels are two halves and you have to pin them together, that it might not roll as freely as the front one. But as you can see, there are no issues with either one of these wheels rolling. Very cool. I'm always super impressed with alt modes that are very real world accurate, right? I love that amount of detail that's put. It's very easy for any company to just ignore the real world accuracy of an alt mode, right, of a vehicle, because, oh, it's just a cartoon, blah, 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 right? But yeah, MMC, I think, on their alt mode, like, this is just super fantastic. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And we'll do a size comparison with the other guys. And this is probably the part where the real world accuracy goes right out the window, right? Because that is obviously not accurate. That is obviously not accurate. And that is obviously not accurate. But somebody give me a solution to this, right? We're not going to get an MP scale, or any scale for that matter, groove of the Protectobots where his alt mode, his vehicle mode, is going to be in scale with the rest of them, right? I'm sure we all agree primarily we want the robots to be within scale of each other, which is why I mentioned earlier that, you know, it's too bad Hotspot's a little bigger than the rest of them, because he's really not that big in the cartoon, right? So it's not quite scaling properly. But this still look, I mean, it looks okay, but he does look out of place here, right? I would never display them this way anyway. And of course, the more important part is, how do you get this as the leg of Defensor to be a leg if you scale it down to, you know, an alt mode that's only going to be like half the size of this so that it scales with the vehicles? It's never going to happen, right? It is what it is. You know, robot mode, combined mode, that's what we're going to be displaying this guy in, so be it. One last thing I did want to point out that I kind of forgot. So one of the more interesting features of this guy is that the front wheel actually turns. Not a whole bunch, but it does, as you can see, right? It turns, right? The more interesting part is that if you watch the handlebars, they also turn. So that's a very cool, like, that's something, you know, obviously MMC did not have to do that at all, right? But it just speaks again to the quality that MMC puts out, that they do put that type of detail and thought into their figures as well. So that's a very cool feature as well. I do very much like that. Overall, it's another outstanding release from Mastermind Creations, and this Protectobots set is really rounding out very, very nicely. I'm very interested to see what the combined mode looks like. I know it's not going to be the scale like everybody wants for the Masterpiece scale because of the all-in-one design, but for me, it is that all-in-one design that speaks to me. I love that engineering. I love the fact that everything is built in, and we don't have a bunch of extra parts that are kicking around that we have to worry about where we're going to store them if we don't have them in combined mode. They do serve very well for robot mode as well. Again, they scale very well with the rest of the Masterpiece scale guys, with the exception of possibly Hotspot, but Incertus himself does fit in very nicely with the rest of the Protectobots from that set, and it's looking fantastic on my shelf right now. The alt mode also is super outstanding in the details. Those real world details in an alt mode always speak to me, and the effort that a third-party company puts into the alt mode when they don't have to also just speaks to that quality that MMC brings to the table every time with their Masterpiece scale stuff. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I am going to be doing raffles every month from now on in support of an organization called Kennedy's Village. They do work to help bridge the gap. Bridge the gap between research and care against sickle cell disease. So if you're interested in supporting an organization, a nonprofit organization like that, you can enter into my raffle. This month, I'm going to be giving away Magic Squares Heavy Gunner or Magic Squares Munitioner, the winner's choice. I'm looking for 100 entries to give one of these figures away. If I get 200 figures this month, the winner will get both figures. So I'll leave information in the description down below for Kennedy's Village, so you can check out that organization, as well as how you can enter my raffle to get yourself in there, hopefully win one of these guys at the end of the month, and again, support a very worthy cause. Once again, I am the Rusty Mechanic. We'll see you next time.